Why Not? A queer podcast.
Thank you to our sponsor, Pineapple Healthcare, an award-winning primary care clinic right here in Orlando.
Pineapple Healthcare offers mental health counseling, HIV, STI testing and treatment, and specializes in care for the LGBTQ plus community.
Open Monday through Saturday. Call today at 407-553-6336 and schedule your appointment.
Pineapple Healthcare. Better together.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Todd.
And I'm George Wallace, and you're listening to Wine.
Why Not? A queer podcast.
Episode 127, or is it 127?
You know, it really depends on how you say it as to what fun facts you find about the number 127.
Well,
I have
said
learned
it both ways, Rick.
Well, I've got, you know what? I can't wait for 100 episodes because then we can talk about the sitcom 227.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great. I loved that show.
Never seen it.
Really? Regina Hill was like a kid on it, and now she's like this Oscar-winning, crazy great actress. But let's introduce. We have a guest host, as those of us who listen. Were you trying to gesture something to me? Oh. Okay, so for those watching,
I didn't know that I had to know sign language to be on this podcast, but it's okay. I know just enough.
Do you know what this means to people that were alive in the 80s? This means I crush your head. Do you remember that? Did you watch Kids in the Hall?
No, either. I just thought it meant small dick. I don't know. That's
funny you say that because I saw this meme today that was like, it was a tennis player yelling at a judge going like this, like to say the ball hit this much, and all it says is, I don't know who this woman is, but she seems to know you.
Well, one of the most embarrassing pictures ever is I was on Wesh 2 and I was talking and I went like this, and everyone I know took a screenshot, and it became,
Oh, that needs to be big. That needs to be a bigger meme.
My friends are mean, Rick.
I know some of your friends, and you're not wrong. This is why I don't have any. This is why I limit mine to 2, and I'm the mean one, so it works out well.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, there you go. Okay, so we have George Wallace with us. George is filling in for Jeremy, who will return next week as he is settling into his new life in New York City. So, George, tell everybody who may not know you, who lives under a rock, who you are, what you do, and anything else that's you want to.
Yeah, George Wallace. I am the CEO at your local LGBT plus center, the Center Orlando. And before that, I was with the Orlando Fringe, and I always like to say that Orlando is my true home, even though I'm from New England. And Orlando's been very generous to me, and this is probably where I'm going to die. It's a way to bring it down.
Yeah, no time soon, right?
No, not that I know of. No. But once you hit 50, you do start thinking about that, because I have a group of core friends who were 6 of us. I'll say were.
Yeah.
And there are 3 of us, and we're going on our first cruise next month. We're all getting together and kind of celebrating a couple of our friends who have passed away over the past year. So,
that's good.
You hit 50, and then, people you know and love and went to school with are dying.
Yeah, I found a camera in my office the other day. I've been doing a lot of cleaning. We're doing a lot of moving around, and I've done a lot of cleaning. And I found a camera in my office, so we plugged it in, and it was from 2015, I think. And there were photos where all the people in the photos are no longer with us.
Oh.
And I was just like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, but it's also kind of nostalgic and cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Danny and I went to New York, and we went to the Broadway Theater. We were there for a conference, so we went to the Broadway Theater, and we turned a corner, and there was a picture of Miss Sammy on the wall from La Cage aux Folles.
Yeah,
and I thought that was awesome.
Me,
It was just really cool to see.
Yeah.
So anyway, welcome to our death podcast, where our comedy podcast about death. Now, So, yeah, we have a great relationship with the center, and I really appreciate you coming here and for all that you do with us. I mean, we worked together great when you were at the Fringe Festival and now at the center, and we do so many things together, and I love it all.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, Watermark and the center and a few other organizations. When I think of Orlando and the queer community, I can't imagine it without those 2 organizations. 35 years for Watermark.
This is our
30th.
31st.
31st. Okay.
Yeah, 31st.
Just made you older, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like it. I
Yeah.
feel like we've been doing it. I feel like this year alone has been 35 years.
and I am working now on our 50th anniversary kind of capstone. So, yeah,
That's awesome.
it's 3 years out. So
See, I was gonna make a joke
years.
about that, and then I said, you know what? I don't know if we're tight like that. I was gonna say, is this the real 50 or is that? I'm just kidding.
No, well, if you ask some people, no, but also I have another really important question, Rick. So, it's not really wine not, it's vodka not, because I'm a vodka drinker, but I stopped at ABC Liquor on the way here and I bought little marijuana shots.
Oh, fantastic!
So has anyone ever gotten high on the show?
So we'll do
Or
weed,
will I be
weed
the
not.
first?
We got weed not. We got vodka, vodka not. And usually the show has a lot of varieties of names. So honestly, last time the guest host had to drive back to St. Pete afterwards, so he didn't want to drink at all. And Jeremy would just drink whatever. Jeremy would drink some weird shit. He brought in like a crock pot of like toilet wine. No, he didn't make it. He's not in prison. But
That's the real story. He's not really in New York.
yeah, right. Orange is the New Black is Jeremy. So when I asked you to do this, you're like, I don't drink wine. So you've got your vodka and your weed shots. We've never had anyone get high. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe they came in high.
Maybe. Well,
Maybe
we
I'm high.
live in a world of edibles.
I'm just saying, I'm not allowed to drink. Nobody said I can do drugs.
Right. That's true.
I'm just kidding. My sponsor probably is like, don't. He's calling me right now.
Do you partake in marijuana? No.
No. It's never been a thing for me. It never. I didn't take to it very well, and I will tell you this story because I did it the first time I ever did it. I had all these friends that did it all the time. Like they were partiers, and I was dating somebody who was really popular in that group. So we went to this house, and they were all smoking, handing around. I would tell you the name of one of them, but I don't want to out him on because I'm sure nobody knows that he smokes weed.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
And so he was. If anybody is watching the video, let's not do a promo of that part. So anyway, he had some there. Everybody was smoking it, and smoked it for the first time because I want to be cool like all the other cool kids.
Right.
So after I did it, it started like sinking in, and I wasn't having a good time. So I was talking to my boyfriend, and I was like, "Oh, we need to leave. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. We need to go." And he was like, "Sure, we'll leave. Just a minute. Just give me a minute." And like, I feel like time went on and on and on, and I kept asking, and finally, after what seemed like hours, I just yelled, "Can we fucking leave already? I've been asking for hours." And everybody looked at me, and they were like, "Rick, you've just been sitting there silent for like 30 minutes. Like, what are you talking about?" And so it was all in my head. And then I was like, well, now I need to leave.
Yeah. Time is something that just does not exist while you're high, or it's skewed. And yes, 30 minutes will be 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah, it's not the only time that I ever tried it. It's just like that every other time was just like that.
Okay. All right.
Not for me. Although I will say I'm probably high most of the time walking around at Pride events and walking when I go visit New York and walk on the streets in New York. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So good. We usually start the show talking about facts of the number of the show that we're doing. We did this, I don't know why, because we hit a point where whatever we were doing was no longer viable for us, so we were like, oh, let's start doing this weird thing. So we did, and I looked up a bunch of things. So I'm gonna spew out some facts about 127. Jeremy and I play this game where I go to this site. It's called cinemaarchives.org, and they list the greatest directors and the greatest movies ever made. Okay. In order, and this is according to these people. And usually he'll guess the movies because he knows every movie ever made.
Okay.
I don't expect that's going to happen here, but I'm going to give you a movie and a synopsis, and you tell if you get this. I'm always like giving away everything. If you get this, I'll give you my car.
Wow.
I shouldn't say that because you'll probably be like, "This is my favorite movie ever made." All right, so this is the 127th best movie ever made according to Cinema Archives. It's I'm going to guess it's Portuguese.
Oh.
It's
okay.
by Raul Ruiz, and it's a 2010 movie. It's a tragic story of the many lives of Father Dinas, his dark origins and his pious works, and the different fates of those who, trapped in a sinister web of love, hate, and crime, cross paths with him through years of adventure.
Yeah, not
even a clue.
Not
Mysteries of Lisbon.
Oh,
There you go.
that was my third guess.
Honey, are you listening? I get to keep my car. And then the 127th greatest director of all time. I've never heard of this person, but they directed, I think he's French, directed movies Beauties of the Night, The Grand Maneuver. Those are the only two that were written in English. The rest of them I'm not going to butcher.
So, fun fact, The Grand Maneuver, I've never fucking heard of it. No, so
I was like, shut up. He's going to get it.
no idea. No idea.
Renee Claire.
Oh, Renee.
Every once in a while, we run into somebody that we know. So 127 hours was a movie starring James Franco about a climber who got stuck and had to remove his own arm.
Yes.
When I was looking that up, they were showing photos of everything, and it reminded me, well, I'm sure we're going to talk about this in a minute, it reminded me of a line from Shucked, which I recently saw, and that's that he's like, I think when I see a movie that's based on a true story, I think this happened to real people who were just uglier.
And they're making Shucked into a movie.
Oh, really?
They
Oh,
are.
it's going to be great. So James Franco starred in this. The guy does not look like James Franco. Just want to point that out. There's a Fiat 127.
There is.
There is. TWA Flight 127 crashed in 1961 near Midway, Virginia. Killed 79 people. This is a fun one.
Caitlin.
Is it? Is this a fun one? I don't know. If you're into yard sales, which if you listen to this podcast, you know that I'm not. U.S. Route 127 runs north-south from Michigan to Tennessee and is known for the world's longest yard sale, which covers 600 miles. That's a long yard sale. And I hate yard sales.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bargaining going on there.
My mom loved yard sales.
Yeah?
So on weekends, I was forced to get in the back of the station wagon and go.
Oh, as a shopper, they're cool.
Oh.
But to host one.
Both.
Oh.
Ugh.
It's the haggling. Like, we're sitting there cleaning up things because, again, I keep saying this every week. Until it happens, I'm going to say it. And once it's done, we're taking a couple of 3-2 houses and putting them into one, right? So we're just constantly going through everything and deciding whether we're going to sell it or throw it away or whatever. And there's something that, like, I'll say, oh, let's just throw this away. And Jen will say, no, put that in the yard sale. I'm like, I'm not selling something for 10 cents because somebody's going to say, I'll give you a nickel. And then I'm going to be like, no, get out of my yard. Go away.
I agree.
So I can't. I'm going to be the worst at the yard sale. I'll probably
But
videotape
are you actually
it.
doing it?
Yeah, it's silly not to because a lot of the stuff is new and we have a lot of like furniture and I mean there's things, appliances that have never been taken out of the box. So
Do you have a shopping issue? Is that what is this going to turn into a therapy session? Gee,
I'll tell you the appliance that's still in the box is I saw this thing and they're like, oh, it's like making ice cream out of fruit and it's really good. And I was in this health kick and fruits are 0 points for me on the Weight Watcher scale. So I was like, let's do it. And it just doesn't really do it the way that I can't eat anything that comes out of this thing. So I'm like, I'm going to sell it. And it just, all it does is you take like bananas and you put in a thing and it just mashes them up and then spits out this, and you probably need to put it through. Yeah. It's just baby food. It just makes baby food.
oh my God. Is it like a ninja?
Something like that. It's just an off. It doesn't have that name attached to it. Because if it did, it would probably, like, I've taken a Ninja blender and I've put in like frozen bananas and cocoa powder in it, and like boom, it tastes like chocolate ice cream. It's great.
Yes.
So I thought, oh, this is a lot easier.
I think you're doing it wrong. It's not. What the fuck would you have a baby food machine?
Fuck it, I'm gonna lose the sale. I'm bringing it to the center on bananas, and I'm gonna show you.
My God.
And then you tell me how to make this work differently. You just put them in there, and then you mash them, and then it spits them out.
You fucking paid for that. Oh my God, Rick.
You
I'll
need to,
give you a nickel. Like,
you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set it up at the garage sale, and I'm gonna sell mashed bananas for a nickel.
baby food, 5 cents.
Oh, you're pregnant? I have the perfect thing for you.
God.
127th Pokemon. I'm gonna say it wrong, Caitlin, so you can correct me. Pinsir?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Pinsir. I don't know anything about it. I did put all these facts about him. Abilities, hyper cutter. That doesn't sound like a good thing.
No, it is.
Like, I'm sad. No.
Oh, because that's what I thought it was too.
All right.
Like, oh,
I've watched enough after-school specials that hyper cutter has a different meaning. It's a stag beetle. I don't know why I'm reading all of that. That may have been all my facts. So that's 127. There you go.
Well,
Jeremy probably would have said.
Let's hope 128 is better.
Where's the cut?
Oh, she's showing us a picture. Okay.
That looks like that building on I-4 when you're driving back from that Polytech University. Doesn't
That
it?
looks like what I thought a vagina was until I was 13. With teeth.
Is it not?
No.
Do you know what taught me that that's not what a vagina looks like? Have you? Well, I mean,
No.
Other than porn, have you seen
I know
that
what you're
TV
gonna say.
show?
Oh, I don't know. That's not a
Naked
TV show.
Attraction?
No, but there's a book and it's called Gay Guys Draw Vaginas. And it's a coffee table book and it's brilliant.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So it started with this woman and they were out drunk at Denny's or IHOP or wherever gay people go that are drunk after leaving a club.
Crystal's, Taco Bell, IHOP.
True.
Oh, yeah.
And drew a vagina on a napkin and she said, "What's that?" And he's like, "Well, that's a vagina." She's like, "It's not even close to what they look like." So she started asking all of her gay friends to draw vaginas and made a book. And it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, okay. Well, I know what I'm putting on my list for Secret Santa. Like, I'll pass it through HR first and see if I can put that on there.
Aren't you HR?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the biggest offender. I'm constantly getting in trouble from HR, so it's all good. All right. So let's do this thing where I'll ask you sort of about topics Jeremy and I talked about in our first episode.
Okay.
And that was like, what's your favorite? So what's your favorite movie, your favorite TV show? And they don't have to be queer. It's okay if they are. Like Ryan's, of course, was a Little Mermaid, and that's as gay as you can get. But if so what was your favorite movie? What was your favorite TV show growing up?
Okay. So
Or of all time?
Of all time, and it's an Australian film, Muriel's Wedding. I just think that it's brilliant and I mean ABBA soundtrack, so it's pretty queer, and Toni Collette, and I just loved Porpoise Spit, the town, and I just
Everything you're saying sounds gay.
it's
Toni Collette,
yes.
ABBA,
Yeah, and it
Wedding.
was, yes, and well, she
Muriel.
was- Muriel, that is a very gay name. It's not, but so my other one, and because there's gay influences, I think that Devil Wears Prada is brilliant, and I quote it. Miss Congeniality.
Do you lead that way at all? Like are you ever that way at work? Like Miranda?
I'd say no, but if you ask one or two people. So here's my management style. Don't piss me off. So that's like, I am the most even keel, but like I have a breaking point, and I will actually even tell you I am getting to my breaking point, and I've warned you. And then when I break, it's not good.
I have noticed that there are times where I think maybe it's because I think I'm being funny, but I'll say things and then I'll be like, "Oh, that's like Miranda," and then I have to apologize. So one time I was at work and this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, while I have your attention," and I went, "You don't."
Oh my God.
And then I stopped and I was like, "Wait a minute, that was hilarious but mean." I was like, "I'm just kidding. What did you need?"
Well, it's so funny because I will ask for something at the office, and I've got a couple of staff that go, right away, Dr. Wallace. Like, I don't ask for much, right? So occasionally, hey, technologically, I have some, like, I suck at tech, and sometimes my printer is just like, it's not connecting, and can you print this for me if I forward it to you? I'm not asking you to, build a house. I'm asking you to hit print on something. I'll even come pick it up. But yeah, no. But yeah, I can be a little Miranda-ish.
I really wanted an assistant like that the other day. I even told Bellany, who's our new Central Florida bureau chief, I just had a lot of things going on at one time, and I was trying to get things ready to leave to go to St. Pete, and I needed something. Oh crap! It was like something dry cleaning-esque. Oh no, it was my mom's birthday, and she wanted a strawberry peach sensation cake from Publix. But okay. I just asked that day because we were taking her out to dinner, and I said, "Are we getting dessert there? Or did everybody want to come back to the house for cake?" And she's like, "Cake at the house, and I want this kind." And I was like, "Okay, well, that is a cake that every Publix doesn't just have. They haven't just made it and it's sitting in a case. So you have to order it 24 hours ahead of time." But so I was sitting there, I had all this stuff to do, and I had this call that I had to make because I was fighting with somebody about our copier and all this stuff going on. I was like, I really just need somebody to call around to Publix until they find the cake. And then I was like, I'm not going to ask somebody here to do that. That's very much like pick up my dry cleaning kind of crap. So I didn't do it.
Well, I would have.
I found it, though, by the way. Found the cake. It wasn't too far away. So
Did you have to order it, or they actually had it in stock?
They had it in stock.
Wow.
I went to the one in Baldwin Park, and they were like, mm-mm. They were like, no, that's... And then, so I said, is there an easy way to find out, like, who has it? And she just looked at me like, I'm not calling. I was like, okay, I'll call. It's like, it's not like I asked you to put trans on it.
Or a Canadian flag.
They won't do that either?
No, Publix refuses to do the Canadian flag, and I don't know why. But that could be, you might want to Snopes that, or I don't know. But I do remember reading that they will not print the Canadian flag. And I have the Canadian flag on me, like my maple leaf. So
I appreciate
Canadian.
That you have done as much research as we typically do for this podcast.
I've done, a ton.
I do. No, I mean, that's how we roll. We have opinions. And sometimes we'll fact check them when they sound wrong. Oh, by the way, all of my facts on 127 were AI, so they could be wrong. Anyway, let's talk about your week. What did you do this week? I'm sure it was really busy.
So what didn't I do this week? So I have not had I've had one full day off since Fringe started, like May 14th. So June was busy. This last week was super busy. And Saturday was our big event, kind of culminates the whole Pride Month. It was OutCon at the fairgrounds at the center day.
How'd I go?
It was cute. It was really good. Attendance was a little lighter than I wanted it to be, but I dream big. But we had about 300 folks come through for the day. We had a lot of vendors. Raspberry Pi was the great band. The vendors were happy. The drag shows were great. There was a cool vibe. We did have some protesters, and we did, have to get them escorted out of the building.
How did they protest?
So I use the word protester. They were, they came in and tried to do conversion therapy on people, and they did prayer circles and tried to pray away the gay, and it was just a little odd. So we asked them to leave. They paid.
It usually works.
They paid. They had their wristband.
Oh,
and so here's the whole thing. They were wearing Spider-Man shirts, and they were, one of the guys was wearing a pink shirt and just kind of strolled in and paid their $10. Now the other protesters that were outside with signs and, the religious pamphlets, they actually never left the sidewalk. They just, as people came in, they handed them a pamphlet or whatever. But they infiltrated. So I believe they're the same group that protested at Spiral Circle bookstore. Pretty sure it was that.
This
group.
is the new way that they do it. And I noticed a couple of years ago at Tampa Pride, because Scientologists have bought up Ybor City.
Of course.
There was a guy that was trying to Dianetics, is that the book? He was trying to pass that out to people.
Sure. L. Ron
And
Hubbard.
because of what's her name? Leah Remini?
Yeah.
Because of her, I knew what Dianetics was. I love that show, by the way, and I love her for it. But the guy who was passing them out was super hot, like super hot. And I'm like, see, they did that on purpose. They said, get this hot young guy to go out there and pass these out and convert people. So that's what they try to blend in, and then it's like this guerrilla protesting warfare thing.
Yeah, and they are also really big with like conversion therapy or you're no longer gay when you join them, because I know that there's a celebrity that they've used as an example that came to them broken and gay. It was John Travolta.
Oh, I was gonna guess. I was gonna try to guess. I was gonna go with Anne Heche,
broken and gay, and they have healed him, and he was a dancer and an actor. I'm like, it was.
They massaged it right out of him, huh?
They massaged it right out of him. So yeah, I mean, just doesn't
Allegedly,
work.
no.
Yeah, I always say allegedly, but yeah, allegedly. No, I mean,
I think I just read an article that he wears like wigs in all of his shows.
yeah.
I didn't realize that he was bald, and I didn't know that about Ted Danson either. I mean, I did learn this a couple of years ago. Ted Danson, he wears hair pieces.
Yeah, good old toupee.
Good for him.
Toupee Ted. That's what we call him.
That's what I would do. I've always told people like I don't care about aging, and I'm just gonna age naturally, and I don't care. But I think that if I lost my hair, I would get a toupee.
So I use Rogaine and I get Botox, but whatever. We're all gonna age.
That's true. It's just that, or I'm either gonna do that, or did you just like we're sitting here talking about losing our hair as we age, and Caitlin just goes like this, flips her hair around, like look at my curly locks, they're so flowy, and that's nice.
She's rude.
See what I work with?
Has she been here since the beginning?
And this is why I am like Miranda Priestley. No, you've been here 3 years, 4 years, 2 years. Right on.
I'm sorry.
She won't make it to 3. No, I'm just kidding. You should never ever make jokes like that. Ugh. I always tell people if I'm joking about firing you, you're pretty safe.
Pretty safe, yeah.
Yeah. The minute I stop, you might start worrying. Anyway, do anything else other than Alcon? I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I really hope to be there next time.
Yeah.
300 sounds like a good. I mean, it's a first time.
First time, right?
It's pretty good.
And people were happy and excited. Yeah. So I was a guest speaker at a couple of different places, and I always tell corporate America, guess what? I am gay 365 during the month of June. I appreciate it. And I know that why you want me to come out and be a guest speaker, but I have to turn things down because, again, I got 1 day off in 6 weeks. So it's a little tough. Today is our last event. And then we tie up Pride Month and move on to 4th of July. And we're good.
What are you doing today?
This.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to Savoy to have a drink with Danny.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm going to sleep.
Savoy's nice.
Yeah.
Savoy's where I was. Savoy, I always like to say this. Savoy's where I was when I left and got arrested. There's no blame there. It's all on me. But
course.
it's just where I used to go to the Hammered Lamb. This is every day. I'd go to the Hammered Lamb and I'd have my happy hour friends, and then they'd go home, and then I'd go with there was one other friend, and we would go from there to Savoy, and we'd be there till like 3 a.m.
I remember you at Hammered Lamb. I remember you used to go to Scotty's Trivia.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I remember that.
Until you said I could never have told you who hosted it. And now that you reminded me that we used to go all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love trivia. You do it Tuesday nights.
I do. I love doing trivia. Although it's a lot of work.
It is.
It's all right. So I love the fact. So Michael Wanzi does trivia also at Savoy on Thursday nights. So he's smart because he has someone write his trivia for him, and he just stands up there and he reads it. Right. My trivia is very niche. It's very pop culture. So I do research and I literally spend probably 4 or 5 hours prepping for a 2-hour trivia match every Tuesday. But I love doing it.
I love trivia. Yeah, I haven't been to yours because I usually leave Tuesdays to go from Orlando to St. Pete. But now that I'm here full time, I expect to be going. Dylan doesn't really like trivia so much, especially pop culture, because he's not like, he doesn't know pop culture. Because he'll say things like, oh, yeah, you know, I saw this TV show that had that guy in it that you one time saw on that commercial about the thing that you put in your hair. And so he just doesn't think he's good at it, but I'll drag him out there. He likes to drink, so so he'll go drink and I'll play trivia. It'll be fun. So,
and then my regulars, I will give them a shout out because I will create a category for them. So for Danny, I did Danny Garcia or Danny whoever, right? Like
Bonaducci.
I can do
Garcia or Bonaducci.
I can do, you know, Rick Todd or Rick Moranis and give you facts about both, like born in New York, worked for Ricky Lake, or you know, like fun facts, and then people, you know, but like if you don't know anything about you. But I would like to think that Dylan would probably get 9 of the 10 questions correct.
I would like to think so too. It would be so sad if he didn't.
Oh, wouldn't that be funny?
He'd be like, who is this? I didn't know this about you. And then he gets up and storms off and throws the wedding ring at me. And
he had a beautiful wedding.
That would be hilarious. And in a way of like, do you watch these things? They pop up on my phone, like I'm playing games, and they'll pop up as ads, but they're like these little drama scenes.
Oh my God. Drama
Obsessed.
box? Yeah, so this is where they get you. They give you the free. I love a good Hallmark movie. I love and they know, and whoever's writing Hallmark movies or Lifetime television for gay women and men.
And gay men.
Gay men.
Yeah, for women and gay men. Yeah.
They get you. So they give you the free coins, and you get like 3/4 of the way through, and it's just about like you're going to have the big, you know, the big arch of the story, and it's $22 to finish watching it.
No.
Yes.
There's got to be a different one. Oh, let me look at this up real quick. Because Jeremy is making me watch like 120 episodes of like I'm not, or Objection, I'm Not Gay. It's like a gay courtroom drama.
It's so good.
Have you watched that one?
Yes.
Okay,
it's so good.
It's called, it's so bad.
Oh,
it's
no.
so bad.
No.
I watched one episode and I'm like,
no.
But you get sucked in.
You get sucked in. And here's the whole thing. There's no way that these are even close to reality because like the boss always comes in and slaps his employees across the face. I swear. They are like the Spanish soap telenovelas.
But they're extremely violent. There's one they were just smacking this woman just because she was poor and they were rich. Yes. And they're just smacking her. And everybody's standing around laughing. And I'm like, what's happening?
Oh, you have seen nothing yet. Oh my God, it gets so good.
All right, so I'm hearing I need to
just let this happen. And I live and I work in such a stressful atmosphere. And I will go home and I have my little pool area and I sit out and got my little smoking area and my drinking area and I put my feet up. And that's like my new go-to thing. I love them.
Well, Jeremy's trying to get me to watch it to cover on the next episode of this because somebody from Pineapple Healthcare was here for our 100th episode and he was talking about these kind of things, and so Jeremy started watching them. But Jeremy's a little more into his phone than I am, you know, with all of his AI boyfriends and all that. And I'm only talking about that because this is my test to see if he listens to this episode. He won't listen.
He will.
He won't listen.
Jeremy, I hope you're doing well in New York. Watch out for the rats on the subway.
You know what my first question is going to be for him on next week? I'm going to be like, did you try the scones? Just the scones. He can't go see Death Becomes Her because, Caitlin asked if he had gone to see Death Becomes Her yet. Megan Hilty has had to take a few months off because she had a vocal injury, and so he won't go see it without her. She's the reason he wants to see it. Before I talk anything about my week, I did not ask you, and this is the question that I want to know. what TV characters and movie characters were like your big gay awakening? Like, did you see these people on the big screen or the small screen and say, yeah, I'm gay?
Okay, so it was always the small screen. So I didn't really go to the movies as a child. I lived in rural New Hampshire, and the movie theater, we had a drive-through, and in the summer I would go. So in the summer I saw movies, but like anything outside of that, we really just didn't go. So it was always television, and I lived in New Hampshire. We had an antenna, and we got 2 channels, and only one. We got 2 if the weather was clear, and we could pick up the signal from Mount Washington, and we had to adjust the rabbit ears. So everything that I ever saw had to be on ABC, because that's the only thing we got. Channel 8, and it was Wonder Woman, and I was obsessed. I would twirl. I thought I was Wonder Woman. I said, I'm going to grow up to be Wonder Woman. And my father told me that I had to stop dressing like Wonder Woman. And my sister even took her old cowboy boots and spray painted them red. And I had a magic lasso, and I had the bracelets and the clip-on red earrings. I was Wonder Woman.
Wow, I mean, that's a pretty big move for your sister to do. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
she sounds like a really cool sister.
Yeah, so it was. Well,
it's like, come here, you little gay boy. I mean,
she used a different word.
Yeah, I know. I was about to. I was like, I don't know what I heard anybody's sensitive ears, but
no, I mean, it's my favorite word. And I will never forget going back to school, and we went to Ames department store, which later became Zayre's. And,
I know all these names.
Right. And I had to get, my, first of all, it was very traumatic because I had to shop in the Husky aisle. I was a Husky.
Isn't it terrible that there's a brand name of clothes called Husky?
Yeah.
Like you're going to put like this on a child and send them to school? It says Husky.
I know. It was terrible. I was a Husky.
Kids are nice, though. They would never make fun of somebody.
No, they were so fucking
They're like
great.
gays. They're not judgmental.
No. And I moved my mom's pocketbook because my mom always had like this huge pocketbook. And I had to get underoos. So I got an Aquaman. And I tried. This is the only thing I've ever stolen in my entire life. I stole Wonder Woman underoos from Ames department store. They're closed now. They're not coming after me. Statute of limitations.
There's a knock at the door.
Yeah. I had the little top, and it was great. I wore them. Like,
so the thrill of stealing didn't stick with you?
No.
Okay.
I was petrified. And here's the whole thing. I was planned it out like in my little 9-year-old brain, but I put them under my mom's pocketbook because I said, figure if anyone's going down, my mom's going down. It's not me. And they're Wonder Woman underoos. Why would a little boy be getting Wonder Woman underoos? So my mom was going to take the fall.
I wish she got caught because I would love for them all to look at her like, why are you stealing underoos? For your son.
So, but anyway, my mom was cool because my dad told me I had to stop dressing like Wonder Woman, and I didn't want to. My mom knew I didn't want to. So we got out, and my mom just looked at me, and I looked at my mom, and she put them in the back of the station wagon, and we went home. So that was kind of, yeah. But then when I came out, she's like, what? I'm like, oh, come on, woman. You knew. You knew.
Did she think they were like Superman underoos?
I don't know what she thought, but
underoos were great.
Oh,
for anybody who grew up of like an adolescent in the 80s had underoos, and they were awesome.
Yeah, so that was my my awakening, and I watched Wonder Woman every week, and it was only on ABC for one season, and then it switched to CBS because it was just too expensive for them to make it, and I had to wait until I was older. And I remember renting the VHS tapes and watching. Yeah. And I hate binge watching. I'm not a binge watcher.
Really?
No. Do you binge watch?
It's Netflix is so good at it. And then the last 2 minutes of a Netflix show, they drop a bomb and you're like, well, now I got to watch the first 5 minutes to find out how it works out. And then you're like, okay, well, now I'm in it. I could stay up until like 1, 2 in the morning when I know I have to get up early watching it. It makes me angry. It makes Jen angry because she gets up earlier than me.
Only thing that I binge watch, and it is Netflix, and I don't really have to binge watch it because it does, they release like 7 episodes and then another 7. So they kind of
The Circle?
The Circle. I am obsessed.
I don't understand. Like, if you were to explain that show to somebody, it sounds horrible. But for
so
some
good.
reason, it works. If you were to say we're going to have a competition show where people are isolated in an apartment by themselves, and the whole show is them reading what's on the screen and typing things and like reading it out loud.
Oh, I would go on it in a heartbeat.
And it's just so weird that you watch this show and it's like, hey, Circle, group chat, invite, and it's just weird because they're just always narrating their lives.
It's always when it goes alert, they always like, oh my god, I'm like, you fucking knew it was coming. It happens every 5 minutes. Like what? It's the end of the day or whatever. But yeah,
I do appreciate like the seasons that I've seen. Sometimes they do cool things. Like they had 2 Spice Girls that were competing, and that was fun. I have a problem with this. Is my problem with reality TV shows. I watch enough of them. I usually like singing competitions and stuff like that, but I do watch Big Brother. Although I may have ruined this podcast because I watched Big Brother and we covered it like every episode last season. It was terrible. We're not doing that, so please don't turn your radios off. We're not covering Big Brother. But when somebody is just blatantly lying, and that then everybody turns on somebody else that they're lying about,
right.
I find that very hard to watch because it's like I feel like it's too real. And there was an episode of The Circle where there was a woman who somebody to save their own skin said she was not real, and it was an older woman, and she's like, I don't understand, and she was very upset and didn't understand why nobody would believe her, and they were just attacking her. I was like, I can't with this. Now if it happens to like a younger person that's a dick, then I love it. But I felt bad for this lady.
Here's the whole thing. She knew what she was getting into.
That's true.
And would you go on the show as Rick, or would you go on as a catfish? So I have a hard stance. I know exactly how and who I would go in as. I
don't tell
think about
us.
this
because when it happens, they don't want. They'll know. They'll be like, "Hey, you remember that podcast we listened to? This is totally George Wallace."
But no, I would go in as George Wallace. I would not catfish. Now, would I bend the truth a little? Would I do those horrible things that you were saying about calling people out and going into the private chats and be like, listen, Melissa's a fucking douche, right? Like I would in a heartbeat.
I mean, you're trying to win a game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I get it. And I think that's the same with Big Brother, so it doesn't really bother me that much. But last season in Big Brother, there was this character that I absolutely because she was acting. There's no way she's really that horrible. I just couldn't deal with it. So
I've met some pretty horrible people in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. We decided she voted for Trump.
Well,
I don't know if she did or not, but that's what we decided. So
yeah, there was. This is terrible. There was a bartender a couple weeks ago at a bar, and it wasn't my normal bar, and he fucked my drink up, and I just went back and told my friends, oh, he's a total Trumper, just because he made my drink wrong. Maybe I am a terrible person.
Yeah. Could you make my drink great again, please?
And how was your week, Rick?
It was.
Well, listen, I get told every week I'm going to hell. I may as well do things to earn my spot.
People tell me that I'm going to hell. I'm like, yes, for many reasons, but not the one you think.
Did Danny tell you what I got in the mail from West Palm Beach area?
No.
Somebody mailed me a picture of their shit in a toilet, and it was. I was like, but they took time to take a picture and photocopy it and write me a letter. And he's like, who does that? And pay for a stamp.
So they like printed out the picture onto
Yes.
onto a computer. That's great. That's great.
So
That costs them money.
I was like, and it's low quality because like I'm looking at it and I'm like, is this art? Like what is this? And I'm like, I said to Nicole, my coworker, I was like, ooh, look what someone sent me. I was like, and she's like, ew. And I'm like, no, it's a picture of, I thought it was a black dildo. And I was like, oh.
So it was a high fiber diet?
It was like, I don't know. Yes. And she's like, that's shit. And I'm like, oh, it's not as funny anymore.
Although, you know what? It would be interesting. Do an art show, because you guys host art shows.
Yes, we do.
Do an art show of like crazy mail that you guys have received.
Okay, so.
And then somebody can buy that picture of someone's shit.
After you tell me how your week was, I'm going to tell you an idea I have. I don't know if I should. I'm going to. I'm going to tell you an idea.
Go ahead. We don't have to wait for me.
Oh, okay. All right. So, do you know Mean Tweets? That Jimmy Fallon?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
Right? I want to do a whole like newscast of me reading the messages, because I always get told don't read the messages, but I read the messages, right? Like I'm guilty.
Oh, the
of it.
comments
The
on a thing?
comments,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Some of them, Rick, they're golden. I have really thick skin and I never want people to think I'm making light of the things that people are saying, because some of it is awful, but also my warped sense of humor. I kind of laugh at it.
You kind of have to sometimes.
I kind of
and
have
it's okay to do that.
Right? Okay. So
You're
I
the
was
one
like,
receiving it. Nobody needs to tell you how to react to it.
okay.
You get to have your own feelings.
Oh, but
In this room, you can say whatever the fuck you want. But
is a
not into
safe
the microphone.
space.
If you don't want them to hear it, just go like.
oh no.
Can you think of like one example of what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah, I have several examples, but I'm gonna use one, and again, this would be offensive to so many people. I feel, but like who it was directed at, we both kind of just looked at each other and be like, we just have to laugh. But I was on a local TV station, right? And it was like, our funding was cut. And that was the headline. It said Center's funding was cut. And it was myself to the right and then Nicole Parker to the left. And the person wrote, well, I think the person on the left had more than just their funding cut. And I was like, and it took me a minute, and I'm just like, that is effing awful. And then I show it to Nicole, and it is awful, but like we also just look at each other and we just both laughed, because like what are you going to do? Because you click on the profile and you just know that this person just lives a miserable fucking life, right? Yeah. So,
and sometimes you laugh at the absurdity of it, and then you take away all of its power. That's the point.
So speaking of that, so I have my tattoos. I have a pansy, because that's what my grandfather called me growing up. He's like, "You're a pansy," and now that I look back, I was like, oh. He was trying to insult me. And, I was like, I kind of own that word now. I was like, I have a shirt that says I'm a pansy. I'm a fucking pansy. Like, right? Like,
Granddaddy told me.
Yeah.
That's like the word, and excuse me if this offends anybody, but like if somebody were to call me a faggot, I mean, I would just think, I don't think that word has the power you think it does. Like,
right.
It's not as offensive as you think it is. It's because you think, does that mean that I have a husband? Then I do. So to you, I am. Right on.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Well, yeah. And then, your maiden name, used to rhyme with
God,
that.
yeah. You know what? Maybe that's why I don't have a problem with that word,
Right?
because my last name used to be Claggett, and play the name game with that.
Oh.
It's a hoot. You know, you get a maggot, you get a There's a shirt that's out now. There's two that I really like that I've seen at Pride. One says homo, but it's HOMEAUX. And I think for some reason that cracks me up. I love it. And the other is, it's like a loaf of bread that's rainbow
Faggot.
color, and it says faggot. And I love it. It makes it sound French, so it's okay.
Yes. Well, you know, I grew up in my grandfather was like from Quebec, Montreal area, and didn't speak English growing up. So yeah, that's probably how he would have said it to me. Pansy, faggot! Get me a ginger ale, you little faggot!
Reminds me of like that song, the opening song from Beauty and the Beast. Like, Marie, the faggots, hurry up.
But
I forget you're Kaylin's a huge Disney fan. That's why she's laughing extremely hard at that.
So you just have to sometimes just laugh and take ownership back, because like it's, you know, it's not going to offend me.
Yeah, well, whoever's saying it thinks that they're saying the thing that's going to hurt you the most. And it's like, I'm going to laugh at you because you don't have that power.
No, and take the power away, and that's always so. Yeah, so I was thinking of doing like a mean tweet, but I'm just gonna read some of the comments.
I think that's hilarious.
And put their picture up and be like, John from Ocala said.
That's like very like that thing Fairvilla does, where they like when people shoplift and they take their picture and put it up with what they were stealing. That's hilarious.
I know.
There was nothing where. Can you imagine if there was a picture of you at an Ames department store?
Embarrassed.
That's like George Wallace with his Wonder Woman underoos.
My Polaroid picture of me in Fairvilla. No, but I've never been there. I don't know what you're talking about. They take pictures. What?
My picture's not up there. I was just very good at stealing. No, I'm just kidding. I've never stolen anything from Fairvilla.
From Fairvilla.
And I stole. It was so funny. I was a kid and I went to this convenience store to buy a candy bar, and I was standing there waiting at the register forever. I guess the clerk was in the bathroom, and I was like, ugh. So I was so mad. I was like, I'm going to steal something. Did I steal the candy bar? No. I put the candy bar back and stole a 3-cent piece of gum and walked out with that. I'm like, I taught them. I think that's the only thing I ever stole. Maybe. Oh. Yeah. I went back to that same convenience store like an idiot. I'm surprised. I don't know how I'm still alive. I went back. You remember Transformers? Like, I mean, what's the bad guy's name? Optimus Prime? That's a good guy. What's the bad guy's name? Megatron?
Oh my God, I totally thought she said something else.
But it used to fold up into a gun. I don't know if he still does, but it was a gun. And so I had this thing, and I folded it up into its little gun, and I went into this convenience store, and I kicked the door open. I mean, I'm like 7 or 8 years old.
I thought this was like
No.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. It was this morning on my way here. How do you think I got these drinks? Yeah, so I kicked the door open and I yelled, "Freeze!" And like you just hear people fall to the ground. And this is back when they had like big arcade games in convenience stores, and you just hear, it was Pac-Man, you hear like their character died or whatever, and I looked around and I was like, and I ran out like an idiot. I mean, that guy in the convenience store, like clerk, could have just pulled out a gun and shot me. I don't know how I lived. I was a little hoodlum kid.
Where did you grow up?
In Houston, Texas.
Oh, okay.
We grew up like when we were really young. We were in like I think not so great part of it. I don't know. But then we kept moving. Every move we advanced in society.
Were you born in Texas?
No, I was born in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh.
But I only lived there for like the first 2 years of my life. I don't really remember it.
You know, I wonder what they say about people from Ohio. I don't know either. But.
the people talk about people from Ohio. No, but I basically grew up in Houston.
Okay, cool.
I do want to give it a couple of shout outs to things for this week. I did go see Shucked at Dr. Phil's Performing Arts Center, which I believe you did as well. Did you love it?
I loved it. My favorite line, and I've been saying it all weekend, is like, "What would your mother say if she was alive? Get me out of this box."
My favorite line, and I brought this up when I saw it in Tampa on the podcast, also involves the word box, but it's when Lulu says, I may have lost my virginity, but I still have the box it came in. That was a great line. Such a great show. Just really well done. The writing, and it's so, one thing I complain about, like Moulin Rouge, is like they had this thing that worked in the movie where they took a song, they put 18 songs in it, and then when they did the Broadway show, they overloaded it. It's almost like they couldn't afford the rights to the music, so they took the minimum that you could take and made a whole show out of it.
Right.
And it just didn't work. But in this, it's overloaded with bad puns and stupid jokes, but it just works because it's so endearing. And like the writing was great. All the acting was great. I think we saw a different Lulu than you did. I think you saw the understudy. And because Danny told me, and I said, "Was this your Lulu?" And I showed the picture, and he's like, "No." So we had different ones, but she was great.
She was great.
And all of them. And that's the part that Alex from Glee, that they originated that character. Anyway, great show. I absolutely love it. So I saw that. Thursday was my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday.
So we took her out. Now this is all I want to say about this because this makes me laugh. I've been cleaning my room and I found this blouse.
A blouse?
Yes, that was my shock. I pulled this. I thought, so I have this like blousey black shirt. And so I was like, oh, I didn't realize I brought that to Orlando. And then I started looking at it, and then it had this like gold thing in front of it. I'm like, this is not a Rick shirt. This belongs to Jen. And then I showed it to Jen, and she's like, that is not mine. She's like, that must be your mom's. And so I was like, why is my mom's shirt like in my closet in my room? And then we remembered when we were in New York in April, she had stayed for a couple of days to watch the dogs and must have left that shirt there, kind of a thing. Well, I bought her a new shirt for her birthday. And then I thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if I wrap her old shirt in with her new shirt? So she's going through it. She gets the new shirt and she's like, oh, this is awesome. Thanks. I fully expected her to look at the other one and be like, haha, real funny. No, she picks it up and she goes, oh, this is beautiful. She starts showing it to everybody. So then I, of course, just start cracking up because I'm like, at this point, now I feel bad if I were to say, hey, it was a joke, just kidding. So eventually I just said, you like that? She's like, yeah. And I was like, well, you should. You bought it. It's yours.
Are you sure it wasn't your husband's?
If it was, it wouldn't even be a muumuu. It would be like a 6 dresses tied together, like the movie 27 Dresses. It would be all in one. I mean, yeah, it would not fit him, but it was just funny. And then Jen's mom, of course, is there, and she's just shaking her head. She's like, "That's your son. He's your son."
I love that while I'm sitting here, I get little pop-ups that say from the editorial team. So I know things that I shouldn't know. I couldn't read it.
Can you imagine if that's my computer that you're using, and so I couldn't
look at the history, Rick. Don't worry.
Didn't have my readers on, so I couldn't see where to close it out or to log out from it. So I just left it up, and I was like, oh well. So if you respond to any of it, they'll think it's me. You're all fired.
Freeze!
I sold the company. Yeah. Anyway, what else am I going to say? That St. Pete Pride was this last weekend. And although they do like a month long of events.
Right.
Which is great fun. So keep up the good work. It's just when there's so many prides and there's so many events, there's just so few of us to cover so many of them. So shout out to Ryan and Louise who work for Watermark that went. They were all over the place going to those things. But we all went, and we had the whole staff gathered on Saturday. We had lunch at Bella Brava. Have you ever been there?
No.
Bella Brava?
Sounds great.
Italian food, super good.
So good.
Super good food. Yeah. And they do this, they're really nice because they let us do a trade out for advertising.
Okay, cool.
Because, we're poor. And so it's awesome. And we get this really great meal. So I love them. They're great staff, all around good time. But I will say about Pride, one thing I noticed, I don't know if you noticed this, Caitlin, because you were there taking a bunch of photos too. There were a lot of pussy shirts. A lot. But my favorite, so good. It was this larger woman, and she had this shirt, and it said, "Who ate all the pussy?" I know we won't be able to make a clip out of that either because I don't want to be shouting on the internet who ate all the pussy. But it killed me. I was dying laughing. It was a good time. But there were lots of protesters, but these were like the it's weird because they're not like, you know, they're not really like the screaming, you're going to hell. They're the people with the bullhorns and the big church sign. Yeah. And they're just like saying, you know, repent and sometimes God will love you. And it's just really weird. But one thing that happened that I just loved, and I just think it's really cool when something unexpected happens. Like you expect that you're going to go to Pride and that gay people are going to gather en masse and like maybe even the angels will circle them and sing or something like that. But this was a high school like drumline marching band kind of thing. And there were like 5 kids from high school that grabbed their tubas and their drums and stood next to them and just played. Every time they started talking, they just started playing and dragging them out. And that was just really cool because it was completely unexpected.
I love that. And speaking of fun t-shirts, I bought a great one this weekend. Emotional support bottom. Which I had to do a little research, you know, as I'm coming on the show. No offense, but I hadn't seen a lot of episodes. I will go back and rewatch. I have 123 to catch up on. But
you and Jeremy both.
So, Rick, you used to give me. Breaking news. No.
Daisy's approved something.
Yay. Thanks, Daisy. You used to give me like a top 5, and then I watched a couple episodes. I'm like, wow, you're a big old bottom.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong that I give bottom energy. I'll say that I think because we usually see each other out at like community events and stuff like that. And it's, and, you know, and it's very like, oh, I'm at work. And for me, and then, especially since I stopped drinking. I mean, before it's probably like, tits out, kind of fun. But
well, that's the Rick I remember.
I think, you know what, you're the first person outside of like my like close knit group of people and outside, even before I even told people at work that I got arrested and was going to AA and all that stuff, because you were leaving. You were working at Fringe, and you and I were having a meeting about something, and you were going somewhere else. I was like, oh, well, he's leaving town. I can tell him.
I came back 7 months. That was the worst fucking thing I ever did.
Yeah,
leaving.
It's sad when you get it's sad when you get a job opportunity and think it's going to be really cool, and then you get there and you're just like, that support system isn't there.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty bad, and I don't want to disparage that organization. It was not a good fit for me. I was not a good fit for them, and they were not a good fit for me, and we parted ways, and I came back to Orlando, and I haven't looked back yet. You know, I just love it.
Who would have known that an organization called Make Indiana Great Again would be so bad? I just snorted. Made myself laugh so hard I snorted. Just kidding.
You weren't kidding. You snorted.
No, but when I'm out at events and everything, I think I'm just actually really, I don't think people know this about me, but I'm actually very shy. Like,
I do that.
And so I probably come across as a dick to most people because I'm not going to walk up and hug everybody and talk to everybody and like all of it makes me really uncomfortable and nervous, which is why I drank so much in the past, was to like make me get over that. And so there's like me, but then I come onto this and I'm just talking to the people in the room, and I'm very animated with my hands, and I noticed that they're very limp. When I went back and I watched the videos, and I'm like, Jen, I'll go like this, like, am I that gay? I'm like talking and I do this. Anyway, I did that for real. I wasn't even pretending that time. So yeah, big.
Well, being gay is genetic. You can't tell me you're born gay, right? Because like I can look at you. There's certainly facial features. Like, you have the gayest eyes I've ever seen.
Do you believe that? Do you believe?
I do.
That's so weird. I've never heard anybody else say that, but I've always thought that. And I would say, like, you could look at somebody
100%.
and you could tell, like, there's something, and I can't pinpoint what it is, but there's just a look. And I don't want to, like, if it's, I'm not going to give any examples because it's going to sound like I'm
profiling or whatever, but
there's just like, you know, there's facial features, there's arm lengths, there's different kinds of things to say like how your body comes together. 100%. There is definitely, to me, a way to tell. And I've never heard anybody else say that.
Well, of course, because your body is built up of all of these different chromosomes, and like, I think that there's a commonality with certain gay men and sometimes lesbians where there's either a chromosome, or we have a certain chromosome or something. It's like, I think it's a superpower. Like, so like when they say gaydar, I always thought gaydar was like, you can look at someone, but like, I don't know. I can't really explain it, but like, growing up pre, Grindr or internet and all of that, like I usually had to go out and meet people and, and then sometimes it was like, you did dangerous things because, you would go to like the Fens and go cruising in the parks and things like that. And, when you're saying, oh, I'm lucky to be alive. Me too. I mean, some of the things that I did and like allegedly in 1989 to 1999
Yeah. Well, as soon as I turn this microphone off, I'll tell you about an incident that I'm like, how did I survive this?
Right.
But my mom listens sometimes. I'm not really a shameful person. Like I'm subscribed to this idea of like, I am glad about all the things that I did because it helps me, like when I remember those things,
right.
It helps me understand today I should never go back to that sort of lifestyle.
Right.
So I don't mind admitting all the crazy shit, but I just don't want to tell my mom this particular story, but I'll tell you about it later.
See, you're more grounded. I just don't go back to that lifestyle because I'm too fat now and lazy. No. But yeah, no. And I have the internet now, so, but yeah, no, but
It's so funny that you say that. There was a time where I was dating somebody, and it was a very ugly breakup, very ugly. And he texted everybody all these terrible things about me, like all group messages to all these people, and then texted my mom and my friends and said that I had a cocaine addiction, and if she didn't step in to help me, I would die. And it was just really weird. But I had a friend who replied all to that, and she said, no, he's way too fat to have a cocaine addiction. Oh, she's a dear, dear friend. Okay, so we did decide to cover a movie, and so we're gonna talk about a movie. I said this last time, and then we ended up doing it the way Jeremy does it anyway. I don't know that we're going to do that this way because I took my notes differently. I don't really know if we have to go scene by scene about things or how recently you've seen this film, but we'll go through and just kind of highlight some things that we noticed and talk about it a little bit. But since you're the guest, we let you pick it.
Yeah.
And you love this movie, so you
Big
picked
Eden. It's 25 years old, and it is an endearing, sweet movie to me. I think you watched it this weekend because you hadn't.
I did watch it. I watched it last night with Jen, and she is a trooper. She's really sweet, like because she'll watch a lot of these things. She hates most of them. And so I will say that this movie does not preview well when you watch the previews. And it's just because it's 25 years old.
Sure.
There are movies that I like to say look like they were filmed without air conditioning. And when you watch the preview for this, it leads that on. And so we were a little nervous to watch it. But she did sit down and watch. I did have to tell her at one point, though. I was like, are you going to futz? Or are you going to sit and watch this movie? Because I have to watch this movie and pay attention. So either you're going to sit with me or I'm going to go to my room. And she's like, okay. And we sat down and watched it. And so for those, I wrote this note down because it cracked me up. It's rated PG-13.
Right.
It pops up PG-13 for alcohol use and smoking.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no. So here's a Rotten Tomato synopsis of this. Henry Hart, who is played by, I wrote down the phonetic spelling of this, Aria Gross, is a young gay artist living in New York City. When his grandfather has a stroke, Henry puts his career on hold and returns home to the small town of Big Eden, Montana, to care for him. While there, Henry hopes to strike up a romance with Dean Stewart, his high school best friend, for whom he still has feelings. But he's surprised when he finds that Pike, a quiet Native American who owns the local general store, may have a crush on him. So Aria Gross stars as Henry Hart, who is the New York artist He was in a lot of 80s movies.
He was.
He was in, I wrote these 3 down because these are the ones that I remember him most from. Tequila Sunrise. Not so much. I don't really remember him in that, but Soul Man, he was the best friend. And he was in The Experts with John Travolta.
Okay.
Right? John Travolta was in
John
The
Travolta.
Expert? Yeah. He was also in Ellen. I guess it says that he was most known for Ellen, the sitcom.
So he was one of Ellen's best friends. He was a regular on the show, The Bookstore. I think he worked at the bookstore.
Do you know that I never watched that show?
You didn't miss much. Yeah.
I watched the episode where she came out, and I thought it was brilliant.
And the actor who played Pike is most known for Last of the Mohicans.
Yes.
And he's my favorite. He's my favorite character in the movie. And again, I always tell people, it's a little slow to start. Stick with it because it's sweet and it's endearing. And it's one of those movies that you can watch with your mom and dad, or you can watch with your family. And it truly is a beautiful love story.
As long as you don't mind the smoking.
Correct. But yeah, I mean, and I think it holds up well. It's been a couple of years since I've seen it, but I've also have seen it like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Because, those rainy or when you've got the flu or whatever, it's like one of those like my go-to movies. I just always loved it. So I'm anxious to hear what you think of it.
Yeah, it's. I'll just spoiler alert. I did enjoy it.
Okay.
It's not one of those naked boy singing where it's like, oh Jesus Christ. Right. So Tim DeKay plays Dean. He plays the crush.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm watching a movie, if I can't remember people's names, I just give them. He's the crush. So the lead is the gay,
he's not attractive
and he's the crush. Do you know who he is? Did you ever watch Carnival on HBO?
No.
Such a good show. Oh. So good. He was in that. A big fan of that. He's in other things too, but he was really, he isn't, I'm a face guy, so he didn't really do it for me with that, but he did have a nice body back then.
Oh, yeah.
25 years ago.
He was shirtless in it.
Yeah.
That's why it was PG-13, really.
It was, a nips out kind of show. So they had Eric Shawaiji is who plays Pike, and he's the grocery store owner. So then George Coe is the grandfather who has the stroke. He was in any movie that takes place in like the 90s or early 2000s and has a person in it over the age of 60, you can guarantee they were in the Golden Girls. So he was in Kramer versus Kramer, and he was also in the Golden Girls.
Really?
Yeah. The high school art teacher, Rose, is that her name?
Yeah.
Rose was played by Louise Fletcher, who was in a couple of really great movies. Flowers in the Attic.
Loved it.
Fucking love that movie. And she was the terrible person in that. Or you thought she was the terrible person in it, but turned out to be her daughter that was trying to kill everybody. And then she was Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson. And then there was Nan Martin. Now she's the town gossip.
The gossip. Yeah.
Matchmaker gossip. She's the widow. She was in she's in a lot of 80s horror movies, which makes total sense because she looks like the Crypt Keeper. All right. So then the movie starts. And I don't know the actress, the redheaded actress who was playing it. And it was weird because she was moving around like she was pregnant, but she didn't look pregnant. And I'm like, is she pregnant? Or are they trying to hide that she's actually pregnant? Turns out to be a whole shtick throughout the whole movie. She's actually pregnant. But what do I want to say here? I write stupid notes down. I would never ride a bike in New York City if I lived in a 4-story walk-up. Like, who does that? He's like carrying his bike up the stairs. I couldn't do it. So then the grandfather has a stroke. He goes to the town to see him. As soon as he gets into town, he gets out of his car and he runs off a pier and jumps into this lake. That is hell to me.
Oh,
did you see? You're from up there. You're from the north. Do you swim in lakes up there?
Yes.
That's not frightening?
No. So I go back to New Hampshire and I stay on the lake, and I've got I always tell people my story is I've got my little cabin in the woods, and it's if I have the opportunity to, I 100% go back and I jump in the lake. I grew up there. go swimming, and yeah, 100%. I mean, that would probably be one of the first things I would do is like jump off the dock and into the lake.
Oh, it's so frightening to me. It's just like dark water makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to a beach and I'll swim where you can see in the water, but especially when it's like with the fog and the mountains in the background, and it's just, I don't know. I must have seen a movie. Friday the 13th. That's probably what did it.
Crystal Lake.
Yeah, probably is what did it. So, I'll just. There's a thing. The storyline in this is just like this. This guy comes back to a small town and he runs into his high school crush. I guess they were friends, but you get the sense that maybe something happened.
A little,
a little bro job going on, maybe here or there.
When they were 14 or 15.
Yeah,
and he kind of just never got over that.
Right. And like, I guess so then I get the impression he ran out of town because the friend who he had a crush on got married. Yeah. And it just devastated him. Yep. So he took off and spent years in therapy.
And just pined over him. Yeah. And spent years in therapy. And it's probably why I don't relate to that character. Just joking.
Come on, for people our age, like that's middle school and high school right there. Yeah, like it was 100%. Always about pining for somebody. Now I would like for all of my best friends in high school to know I did not pine after you. If I liked you, you knew. Because I just outright said, I think you're hot. Just in the off chance that maybe you're closeted. But none of them were. But that's okay. So when he goes back to town to take care of his grandfather, he finds out that this guy that he had a crush on is divorced now, has 2 kids, and has moved back to town so his parents can help raise the kids.
Yes.
So he's thinking, hey, I'm
going to get together with him.
Right. This is... Which makes you think like something had to have happened between them. Otherwise, why would you think that?
Right. Yeah, and it was like almost like it was something when they were like really young, and they didn't say, so you kind of have to assume. But it was unrequited love, and it was like, and he was pining after this one person, and then on the flip side, he had someone that really liked him, and that was really shy but tried to express interest in his own way, and he just wasn't seeing it because he was so focused on trying to get like the damsel in distress, his football playing friend, and it just never happened.
So that's the one story. He's trying to make this other thing happen, which I will say, you were unsure if it was or wasn't going to happen because this guy he had a crush on seemed to have a crush on him as well. Yeah. But I think what you come to find out is that he was confused and just mistaken the closeness they had for something else. And but on the flip side, as you were saying, there is this super shy, like almost like crippling anxiety of being around somebody that he's attracted to, who also went to high school with all of them. Mm-hmm. But now he runs a general store, and the art school teacher decided, went to him and said, your job while he's in town taking care of his grandfather is going to be to go to the widow's house, pick up the food that she's making and take to them. Yes. And because Henry doesn't know how to cook.
Correct.
And so what Pike does, because he's so attracted to Henry, is he doesn't know how to, so he orders books and he learns, and he goes online because they had it online. They showed a computer in one scene where he was Googling some sort of, or I don't think Googling, because he was Yahooing. Yeah, what was the first one? Netscaping, maybe, I don't know. But he was looking at a recipe, but he taught himself how to cook.
Right.
So he'd pick up the food from the widow, but he would then take, and it was crap. It was like casseroles that were inedible. Yeah, really weird, nasty stuff. So he would take that and he would feed it to his dog. I don't like animal abuse, and I don't know why he punished his dog. So he would feed that to his dog, or he would eat it, and then he would take the really good entrees.
He'd be miserable eating it.
Yeah. But it was weird. I did notice in the first, after he dropped the food off and they invited him to stay for dinner and it was too much for him. Yeah. He can't be social. Bolted. So he went back and all he ate was a slice of bread.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you eating a slice? Like, put something on it, girl. So, but he doesn't want Henry to know that he's making it, so he just keeps this ruse up. And then what is the most endearing part of this film, all of the love and joy that I get from this film comes from the people who sit in the general store all day. And they are friends with Pike. Now there's no one comes out. There's no discussion about anyone's sexuality. But they see what he's doing. And they understand no one just does this for somebody. So they understand without saying it out loud that he's interested in this guy. And they're all there for it.
And they're all kind of like in their own ways, even like the town gossip. I mean, she is pivotal in kind of like making sure that Henry sees that Pike is like, he's not just doing that because he has to. He's doing the things he does because he wants to. He's going next level above and beyond. And that's one of the things that I love about this movie is it's won multiple awards on like all of like the queer film circuits, and you know, it was nominated for like a GLAAD Media Award, but nowhere in there is it blatant or like in your face. But it is such a beautiful queer love story.
It really is.
It really is.
And what I was going to say about the people in the general store that were helping, they like he says, I'm going to make this fish dinner. Like he's like, and I need fish. So he gives fishing poles to the people in the general store, and they go out and they catch the fish and they bring it back. And then they end up helping him cook, and they're all learning how to cook. And now all of a sudden, the general store has a cappuccino machine, and they're all drinking cappuccinos. And the one guy, like the bigger guy there, who's just, he has this line in there. It just gives me chills because it's just, you know, that unexpected love that you get from people you don't expect it. And they get to a point where Pike just actually, because he says, come on now, Pike, you don't just do this for no reason. Right. And he says, I just want him to have nice things. And then the guy goes, well, buddy, that's the point. We want you to have nice things too. And it's just so heartwarming and great. And so then there's the widow who's instrumental in all this too. She's just a busybody. So he comes into town and she's like, I'm going to throw a party and you're going to meet all the ladies. And then he doesn't like any of them. And she goes, well, that's queer. She doesn't say that, but she realizes, like, all the girls get into the car and they're like, well, he didn't pay me any attention. He didn't pay me any attention. And she's like, well, why don't he just tell everybody? So then she throws a party full of gay guys that she invites from all over to come in, and he doesn't pick any of them either, and so she's just at a loss for what to do with him. But one thing about the movie is he doesn't come out to his grandfather. He's like, you get the sense like his parents are dead, his grandmother's dead. It's just him and his grandfather, and his grandfather even is like, hey, he kind of sees them. He sees something happen between Henry and the crush, and he's like, is there anything you want to tell me? And Henry won't do it.
Right.
And then he ends up dying, which is just really sad. And Henry's really upset about it because he never came out to him, and that bothered him a lot.
And I think he's also sad because he is quasi-famous artist in New York. I mean, he does well with his art,
that
right?
apartment. Jesus, you don't, an artist with a walk up with a bike that he rides around town has that view with all those windows.
And he was there for like
Jeremy can tell you.
True. But he was there for like, I'm going to assume it's, probably a 3-month period during like the summer, June, July. They didn't really preface or say, right?
Do you know how time passes in this movie? The woman's pregnant. The next scene, she's got a 9-year-old kid. No, he's not that old. But she is bottle feeding a baby.
Right.
I'm like, how long has he been up there?
Well, and he didn't work. But
right.
He did do some art stuff on the side, right? But so he must get paid really well. But the thing I love about that is that he just went to this small town. I connected with this because I also, too, was from a small town. And we had that general store kind of feel. I grew up in a town that we actually didn't have our own zip code. We had to get mail in the next town over. That we didn't have a post office. So true story. Grew up
That
in a-
reminds me of the opening of Shucked when they're talking about imagine this small town and then like where there's no traffic lights, there's no this, and then they go, now think smaller, and that's us.
and true, and that is where I grew up. And the other thing that I loved, the small town feeling, but you have to think that this was, like you said, it's the 25th anniversary. So 25 years ago, we lived in a very different time, and 25 years ago in rural, it was Montana. And the fact that like everyone was like, I just don't give a fuck, right? Like just live your life and be happy. And they're trying to connect him. And it was just, I always tell people that it was endearing. And I always say, this is like a film that you can watch with your brother and sister or your grandparents, or you could have kids watch it, right? It's just at the end when you just know like that they ended up, the two guys ended up together, and it just kind of like ends. It was so beautiful because like I always wanted like, is there going to be a sequel like Big Eden 2? And I've looked, and there were actually talks because the movie did really well on the circuit. It was in limited release, so I always thought that this would be such a beautiful story to like revisit them like 20 years later or something. So
I would watch that.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting too to see how they navigate sort of the community now and how it's evolved. I mean, because this movie came out 10 years before Marriage Equality, and even a year and a half before Marriage Equality, there wasn't the acceptance that was there. I mean, it was Don't Ask, Don't Tell was the law of the land. I mean, it was,
and Montana's pretty red, right?
Yeah. So it's one of the things that I read, one of the comments of it or critiques of it was just that someone liked delightful about it was that it was just a rom-com. Where the leads just happen to be gay. Yeah. And so, and I appreciate that a lot. It's one thing I really like about the TV show Heartstoppers is that it's just a story about two kids falling in love in high school. And it's not rooted in gay trauma. And although this guy's got a bunch of trauma because he had a crush that he couldn't get over, but it's all fascinating. So just to say like how they get together is, Henry and the crush have a moment where they kiss, and the guy's like, I really want this to work, but I just can't do it. So then Henry's upset, and he's like, this is all done. Every time Henry and the crush talk, it sends Pike out he hightails it out of there. He's like, I cannot see this, because he really likes Henry so much. So he goes away, and then after Grandpa dies, Henry's like, well, there's nothing here for me. I'm out.
Right.
And then people are just kind of like trying to get him to see that Pike is like the one that really likes you. And so what happens is there's Thanksgiving, and at Thanksgiving, he starts to learn that all the food that's been made throughout this whole film, all 9 years of that kid's life, is all Pike made that. And so I think when he realizes that, he leaves, and you think he's on the airport, and he goes, and Pike decides to go chasing after him, and he runs in there, and he runs through security. It was pre 9/11. So, you can do that and not get arrested and just run through. And, and the plane takes off, and he's like, oh, that's terrible. So he goes back to the general store, and bizarrely, everyone in town is at the general. Everyone is there, and they're all sitting there.
That's where it gets a little Hallmarky for me, but yeah.
And he's, I'm like, that's where I'm gonna have a whole Hallmark paragraph about this. But he walks in there, and this is I gotta say, I did like this movie, but the ending was so weird to me because they're all in there, and he's like, what's everybody doing here? And they're all like, they're laughing at him, and he's like, the love of his life just got on a plane and took off, and people are just laughing and hanging out. And then all of a sudden, like, Henry's on the couch, and he leans forward, and he's like, hey, and then they both smile, and then there's this big scene where they're hanging out. Oh, it goes to a couple of years later. They're dancing. Yeah, and they're dancing, and they're together, and it's really sweet and cool. And Pike is amazing in this. You root for him, you want him to win. I feel like
kind of hot.
Yeah. I remember him from Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, he's.
I would have voted for the Indians.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Native Americans.
He totally could.
Back when it came out, as they called him. My bad.
He
She's
totally could
laughing at me for making a for misspeaking.
So I do that all the time.
Yeah.
You probably have to edit this podcast. I'm just, but he's also, I think, like, I just like, yeah, he could just like, he could pick me up and throw me around. I might like that.
Well, ask Henry if he did that. So we do things on a scale here.
Ooh.
1 to 5 grapes.
Okay.
So what is your vote? What do you give it?
I give it 4. Like, it's far from perfect. It's not, to me, there are very few 5 grapes. It's a solid 4 for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I go 3.5. I'll go 3.5 grapes on it. I think it's really well written. I like the things that we've talked about. I'll say the one thing that I missed that I wish was there more is there wasn't a real progression with Henry's feelings towards Pike.
Yeah.
And that it came across like, okay, well, the guy I wanted doesn't want me, and you cook really well, so let me marry you.
And that's almost why I wish that there was a sequel, because yeah.
I would be way more interested in the development of that relationship than the dismantling of the other one.
Yeah, and if you read some of like the Reddit subthreads, that's kind of the common theme. Is like, the ending was great, but I don't know. I picked it because you specifically said queer culture films, and I just love that. And there were a few other ones that I was gonna throw out, but I didn't. And one of them, I can't remember the name of it, but it's so good. I don't know the name of it, but it's to me it was like a 4.5. And when I tell you the synopsis, you'll know what it is. But it takes place in high school. And it is a kid who
Teen Wolf. No,
no, he's visually impaired. And he gets teamed up with a mentor or another teen to help him navigate because he's new at school. And they end up together, and it was just such a beautiful love story.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh,
when did it come out? It's like
within like the last 5 or 6 years. It was
something about giant. Is it something? No. Okay.
No.
It sounds interesting.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, this is a good movie. I'm glad we watched it. It is what I really like about it is it is the gay Hallmark movie before Hallmark started making gay Hallmark movies.
Right.
There is the big city artist who comes back home to a small town, falls in love with the general store owner, and stays. There's nothing more Hallmark than that.
100%. 100%. And I love a good, guess what? Christmas in July, Hallmark. They're playing Christmas movies all month long.
Hallmark. I'm talking directly to you, okay? I was the original lover of Hallmark movies. Like, you get me 5 minutes into a Hallmark movie and I'm there, right? I now have an aversion to them. And it's because I go to sleep every night to the Golden Girls.
Okay.
On Hallmark. But in July, and in an expanding period of time now it's like Halloween till the end of January, they play Christmas movies 24/7. So they don't play the Golden Girls. And I'm like, can you just from like 10 o'clock until 1 in the morning, just play the Golden Girls and then play your Christmas movies every other time so that I can go to sleep to Rose and Blanche and Dorothy? Yeah.
You are so fucking painfully gay.
Why do you think I love the Golden Girls, and I love that Golden Girls Live. I think that show is the best show of its kind. That cast, the best cast of its kind. I know what I'm referring to is what's the Fruit Wine Productions?
Fruit Wine Productions.
And it's Ginger Minge as Blanche.
Who's Ginger Minge? Joking. I was actually just talking.
I don't know her.
I was just talking with her a few hours ago.
She sings a song on some documentary. That's all I know.
Oh, the one she couldn't remember the words to?
You know what's so funny? So we did this show, right? The documentary that Watermark did. We did it at the Plaza, Greetings from Queertown, Orlando, and Ginger Minch sings the original song for it. So we had this big showing for Pride last year, City Beautiful. It's a great song. I love the song. And so Ginger they're going to sing it live for the first time, and we have this big thing, and she gets out there to sing it, and the music starts playing, and she's like, how does it start? And it was hilarious. And I'm sitting there
she got going.
And as many times as I've listened to that song, and I'm the only person in the world, other than the person who wrote it, probably who has it on their phone to listen to all the time. Like, I mean, because it just hasn't been released, so people don't have it. And I listen to it all the time. And I couldn't remember that. I have no idea how it starts. And we make this. That's how it goes to me.
And we make this beautiful.
Yeah, so it's good times. Anyway, that whole shtick of that. Like, there was a group that came through and did. This is back when the Parliament House was open and Footlight Theater, and there's a group that did Facts of Life. It was like drag queens doing Facts of Life. It was good, but not as dead on as what Fruit Wine Productions does.
Fruit Wine Productions, Ginger and CJ, and that whole team, and they're going through changes too, because we were talking, at the beginning about death, but in the past 3 years they've lost 2 of their main cast members.
And there was not a better
B. Arthur than Divine.
Than Divine Grace. Yeah. I'm so spot on. I watch the Golden Girls now, and when I see Dorothy, I see Divine Grace.
100%. When I watch it and I see the reruns of when Lesbian Jean was on, I'm just like, there is no other Jean like Doug Bowser.
When they did the gay brother one, he resembled him a lot too.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's I TikTok, that is like one of the clips all of the time. Blanche and the gay brother. But yeah, I mean, it's classic. I mean, there is this is where you get me down like a rabbit hole and talk about like 80s sitcoms and 80s TV, because now I don't watch a lot of TV. I like to say it's because I have a life, but I don't. But really, in the 80s, the TV was my friend. So sad.
Look, my husband hates the amount of TV I watch. I watch so much TV. I still go to all these events and do all these things, but I will get my stories in, and I watch a lot. When you said that Wonder Woman went to CBS, I was thinking, crime fighting on CBS. If that were on TV today, I would watch it nonstop. But he hates it. But I told him the other day, I said, I'm a latchkey kid.
Right.
This was my life for years and years and years. Like, I can't just turn it off. Like, I live TV. So
have you watched the new Matlock?
Yes.
I'm fucking obsessed.
It's so good.
It is so good.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. Things like series that take like this secret and run with it for a year. I'm just like, please, somebody find out the secret and let's get to the next stage of this. So the way it ended, I'm really excited to see where it goes, and I hope that it sticks around for a while, because she's
and she said
she's 80, right?
But once this gets canceled, she's not doing anything else. She's not doing any camera. She's not doing any movies. She's like, this is my going away, this is my departure. It's like, as long as they'll keep it on the air, I'll do it. But when it gets canceled, or if it gets canceled, I'm done. So, and
one thing I will say, I don't know when it started, but when like these really great movie actors started doing TV, they just upped the game so much. Like, it's Matlock. It's it's episodic, and they've got court cases that they have going on, but she is so good. And, this underlying storyline of her trying to find out who's responsible for the death of her daughter, like, she gets so emotional about all that, and it's really good.
So, speaking of 5 grapes, I'm going to tell you my top 3 favorite TV shows, and these are like 10 toes down. This is like 5 grapes. I would go 5, and I'd give you another half grape if I could. So,
And in this economy,
because I love camp, over the top, cheesy, but like it can't be like too campy, too over the top, or too cheesy. I know that sounds stupid, but like it has to be
they have to do it right.
right.
If you're gonna do it, be good at it.
Ugly Betty,
Mm-hmm.
Desperate Housewives,
There's the camp.
and Modern Family. Those are my top 3. And I will say currently, newer television, Abbott Elementary is brilliant. I love it so much. But I mean, Ugly Betty, I mean, the Spanish soap opera and the and the sister and the over the top and the comedy, and it's sexy and it's gay and it's fun, and you have the fashion magazine Mode. I mean, I've seen like very few TV shows. I can say I have seen every episode multiple times of those 3 shows. I never missed it. When I was out on Sunday nights, I would DVR Desperate Housewives because, again, brilliant.
Well, we used to have watch parties with Desperate Housewives. I mean, make your spinach dip, and everybody shows up, and it was, it was a lot of fun.
Like,
it was a great show.
Brie.
Oh, and what's her name? I forget the character's name, but I think when Nicolette Sheridan left the show, it wasn't on great terms.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
And
She got
they
fired.
killed her 8 times in one scene. Like, she get a car crash, and then she gets out of the car, and then, like, something, like, she had hit a power line, and the power line falls on her. Like, they were making sure she was dead.
Yeah, she's not coming back. So, yeah, she had a little fight with Mark Cherry. But
That's a great show.
so good.
But Modern Family is that's up there and one of the greatest TV shows ever.
So, Desperate Housewives, did you see the spinoff? Devious Maids?
Was this on like a real network?
Yeah. It was on Lifetime.
Oh, okay.
And it was
It's a real spinoff?
of Desperate Housewives.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it also it was the maids of Wisteria Lane, and they had, it wasn't on Wisteria Lane, but it was Susan Lucci, who Erica Kane from All My Children was the matriarch. And yeah, and her maid was like her protector, and then there was a murder, and it was Rick, it was so good written. It was a Mark Cherry. It was the same writers, the same producers. It's brilliant. I'm gonna
have to check that out.
I will go out and say, if you liked Desperate Housewives, you may even like Devious Maids just a little bit better. I did.
All right, I'll check it out. I do love Abbott Elementary, though. Yeah. That is one of the great. That and Ghost, like.
Oh, so that's another one that I think is great. And is a I don't like the British version though.
No, isn't that surprising?
I don't.
It's so not funny.
No, it's not.
And I can understand. Usually, I don't get British humor because I don't really understand what they're saying. I have to watch like Ab Fab. Everybody loves Ab Fab.
Right.
Not me. I was like, I have to watch it with subtitles, and I'm like, I don't get it.
There's a few British sitcoms. Keeping Up Appearances is brilliant.
Did you ever watch Vicious? It's one we covered on the podcast. It's got Ian McKellen and
sorry.
And then the guy who is in Gladiator, he's the guy who runs the Senate, who ends up taking over at the end when Maximus. It's on Sling nonstop. I've seen it 8 times in the last week. That's why it's on top of my head. Anyway, they're a gay couple.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about a sling. I'm sorry. You said
yeah, Sling TV. It's how I watch things. But anyway, we're nearing the end, so I just want to say thanks so much for being part of this. Thanks for helping us fill in for Jeremy. I hope you had a good time. I really enjoyed the movie.
I will come back anytime, and I will not pick I'll pick a current fast-paced movie because it is a
no. This is a great movie. Look, I think this is one. I sort of put things in a category of watch it if there's nothing else on. Like, it's July, nothing's new.
Right.
You got nothing going on, find it and watch it. But I think this is something you should seek out. I think that this is a good one. And there's I watch it on Amazon Prime with limited commercial interruption.
Yeah, for free.
But you should definitely check it out.
What did Jen think of it?
She liked it too. I mean, she thought the same thing I did. Like, it was hallmarky and it was cute.
It was.
And it's endearing is a good word for it because it really does tug at your heartstrings. It's really endearing. But she was also like, well, why didn't they develop that storyline a little bit more?
I know, yeah.
Like everybody thinks, but
it was. There were a lot of flaws, but you were rooting. I was rooting for Pike. Just
it's all about the movie is about Pike. It's just this what happens around him, and that scene where like everybody's like trying to hide the fact that Pike's making the food, and they're worried Henry will smell it, so they all grab the food and they go outside and they go around the corner, and then he goes outside, and so they all walk around the other side. Cute. And then that scene where Henry shows up. Like, there's that moment between Pike and Henry, and the Crush shows up to say it's when Henry's giving Pike the painting,
right?
And he shows up and he's like, "I'm looking for Henry," and they're like, "Oh, you might want to go outside and around to get to him," because they knew if he walked around and looked in the window, he would see them having a moment, and maybe he should just leave. And that's exactly what happened, and it was really cool that the town came.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds? It reminds me of. I should get paid to talk about Shucked so much, but there's a line in Shucked. I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm gonna try to paraphrase it, and at the end of it, I'll probably end up saying, well, like George W. Bush. Well, the point is, you can't fool me twice. But he says something when the grifter comes to town. The lead guy says something about, we may be simple folk, but we're not stupid, and that's a simple mistake that stupid people make. And so I
paraphrased well.
Yeah. So I think that in this, they were simple folk, but they weren't stupid,
right.
And they were looking out for each other. It was really cool. I really liked it.
Well, it's where I went to get my doctorate is Montana, because I was, simple folk. Just kidding. I love you, Montana.
Yeah, to all of our listeners, that's our most listened to state is Montana. I'm just making that up. They are now, though, right?
Do you actually pull analytics? Because so do you get outside of the U.S.?
Yeah, didn't we?
All right.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, maybe I should just post and tag myself, because I'm not even like kidding you. I have a big fan base in Germany. And
really?
And I don't know why.
Do you know where Jeremy has a big fan base? In like Sri Lanka.
Prison.
No, in like Korea. It might be Korea. It's somewhere of the, and it's all because of the articles that he wrote about red, white, and royal blue. And there are people in that part of the world that are obsessed with that show, and they follow him and they share his stories and all this stuff about it. Like it's a big thing. He's very famous over there.
That's fantastic. But I was on a radio station and we used to have podcasts, and we could never understand why. Sometimes there were more downloads in Germany than there was in Orlando, and I was in Orlando. So I'm going to share this in Germany, right? You're about to blow up, girl.
I'm the new David Hasselhoff.
Nice.
No. I have eaten cheeseburgers on the bottom on the floor of a shower before, but
Daisy just sent a file.
Oh, that must mean she's done for the day. Oh, it's after 5. We should probably wrap this up then. So thanks again for being part of this.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Check back. Jeremy will be back next week. And until then, the cork is back in the bottle.